As long as it's authentic and it's resulting in an action, and it's not just a campaign to get people into a cinema, which I think is unethical. If you're just going to do something to bring people into a room so you get more box office, then you're turning impact into a capitalistic mechanism and not doing the real action.
In impact as sort of marketing strategy versus, there's obviously the cynics out there who kind of view impact purely as a marketing play. How do you sort of feel about that, Danielle? In terms of can it be both? Can it be a little? Is it necessary to be marketing but also have a life? Obviously, envision a life beyond that when you're coming up with these strategies.
Absolutely. I'm going to say something, and I hope my panelists come back and say, well, no, actually, it's like this. I mean, my experience working with films and awards, and I'll specifically talk about films and awards in this case, not films that don't go through the award system, is that when you get a film mentioned in an issue press piece about a real change that someone is tackling and that the film has inspired, I think it is my experience that Academy members across different world countries go, wow, that film is breaking barriers. And of course you need that press. It has a kind of knock-on effect. Perhaps, the members are expected to watch so many films, look at every different type of talent, all the different criteria. But if a film is making waves in society and issue press is also writing about that art as a form of an opportunity to engage with the topic, then maybe what's happening is we're finally getting people who wouldn't watch a film coming to watch a film because it talks to them in a meaningful issue-based way. So yes, it is marketing, because obviously what that does is drive people to watch the film, whether it's members or whether it's audiences.
Got it. Is there a line there in terms of obviously there's been some criticism in terms of for impact and what exactly it means and what is there to achieve. Are there lines that simply can't be crossed?
I mean, I'm going to dare to say this: nothing should ever be impact washing. And there's always a danger of that. It's not that you can start saying, well, I'm an impact producer, and then taking it to the organizations who are hypocritical and whitewashing their careers by doing impact producing. Perhaps that's a radical thing to say, but if you're a strong producer and impact strategist, with Dark Waters, we transformed 76 multinationals to take PFAS out of their supply chains. People who never would have done that, but felt such an empowerment through the talent, through Mark Ruffalo, through the Incredible Hulk coming to Brussels. As long as it's authentic and it's resulting in an action, and it's not just a campaign to get people into a cinema, which I think is unethical. If you're just going to do something to bring people into a room so you get more box office, then you're turning impact into a capitalistic mechanism and not doing the real action.
Got it.
I think impact, that the way that the film is approached is also part of the impact of a film. That a film that in the olden days when I was growing up, I never saw myself. I never saw myself on screen. I never expected to. And so it limited it, as though the story of humanity is being told, that the cinema is the photograph album, and you're sitting there in the photograph album of your family and your picture's not there. So there was always this feeling of being left out, that I don't think we can underestimate the effect of having films which now reflect what humanity looks like. And I would imagine that the frontier now is to begin to not just reflect what humanity looks like, but how humanity tells its stories. That if through the awards process, different types of films can begin to be recognized, and not just films that are basically the same films, but just you put in a black person in a role, sort of is it blackwashing? I don't know. But anyway, but whatever it is, that instead actually engage fully in the process of transforming the awards. And I think that's terribly important. And I think BAFTA's done a huge amount in that. And perhaps you would talk about that.
Yeah, if you guys can each sort of, I know both of your organizations, and Valérie, I'm sure the Spanish Academy as well, are really going through a period of transformative change where diversity, inclusion, these are things that are very important. And, the industry is crying out for these things to be applied in terms of criteria for the films that are, that you're including. How are you guys viewing impact through that lens?
Well, ultimately, it's always about creative excellence. But with BAFTA 3 years ago, we undertook a huge review over that year, which led to over 120 interventions or changes that were made, primarily across our film awards, but also our television awards, games awards, membership, our whole voting processes, and really just the culture within BAFTA, but also challenging the industry to look to how they hire the films that they're commissioning, the films that are being greenlit and financed and campaigned, to ensure that there is diversity on screen, that there is diversity in the crewing, not just ethnic diversity, but neurodiversity, disability, etc. We made lots of changes on the film awards. There's several people in the audience who'll be very familiar with that. Particularly in our director category, prior to the interventions in 2021, we had 7 female directors nominated in the history of BAFTA. And in the last 3 years, since the changes that we've made, we have had 8 female directors nominated and 2 wins. So a very dramatic intervention and a very serious success, I think. The same with our performance categories. We have introduced interventions with long-listing juries, with our nominating juries, and we've had a significant impact on the diversity coming through on the nominations as well. So it's been very serious across all of our awards, but also within the culture of BAFTA, because it's about our hiring processes. It's about our whole membership drive to increase the diversity in our membership. We have a new BAFTA membership Connect, it's called, for our younger filmmakers in the industry. So we're all really on target now for the targets that we'd set out 3 years ago. It's always changing. The work will never be done, but certainly we're heading in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah. From the academy, we don't have any kind of intervention about what is produced. Actually, we have some policies in Spain, but we are not depending from the academy. And but what we do as far as the Goya Award ceremony is, I would say, the biggest celebration of cinema in Spain. It's an opportunity to communicate with the audience during the show and to put on the stage some themes we believe are very important to share with them, using the films, of course, and being supported by the teams behind the films and the subject of the films. But we definitely want to focus on some subject like LGBTQ, for example, also about sustainability, as I said before. So what we do is we include some, it could be a video, it could be an intervention, depending of the year and depending of the moment. But that's the way we have to communicate with the audience, not on the way of doing films, but on the way we act on the show and during the ceremony.